Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of Ian and Friends. We're going to talk about U.S. Cyclocross Nationals. I am FloBikes Senior Editor Ian Dille, here with our cyclocross contributor Molly Hurford. Molly, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so Cross Nationals in Louisville, one of the muddiest, yuckiest nationals in recent memory. Let's get into this men's race, which, kind of had all the storylines laid out. I want to start with Gage Hecht racing up in the elite field from the under 23s. That really took us by surprise. What were your thoughts on Gage taking on the elite men?
I was so happy with that choice. I thought it was awesome. I mean, let's be honest, he would have most likely destroyed the U23 field. So to actually get to see where he was going to land in the elite race, it was a huge gamble for him to do that. I mean, for his sponsors, he, would have been aware that a win was pretty unlikely for him. And a podium was even going to be difficult, but he still just went for that. And I mean, clearly it paid off. Third place in his first elite nationals when he still could be racing U23. Amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, really exciting to have him race up in the elite field and just add another contender to that field. I mean, he's been one of the few people that can really challenge Hyde when Hyde is on his A game. So, kudos to Gage. And also, I feel like totally backing it up with a podium position. Another racer who has really impressed this season and impressed at Nationals is Curtis White. I mean, I was at Pan Am's last year. He didn't even race Pan Am's because he was sick. So, to come from where he was last year to getting second, going toe-to-toe with Stephen Hyde for a good portion of this elite men's race, yeah, just truly impressive to me. What is it for you in terms of White's progression and also his performance in Louisville?
Yeah, I mean, watching Curtis this season, it's pretty clear that he's obviously decided, okay, cyclocross is what I'm focusing on now. He went to the road for a couple of years and, came back, and he didn't ever stop racing cross, but he definitely stopped focusing on cyclocross. This season, he's definitely back in cyclocross mindset, and you can see it paying off. But we still see a little bit of roadie to him, right? Pan Am's was a fantastic course for a roadie. That's why he won. That sprint with him and Mike Vandenham at Pan Am's was just pure roadie domination. I think had this course been a little bit drier, we might have actually seen him able to stick with Steven for a little bit longer, maybe even take him to the line. Just because, Steven's had some setbacks this season and Curtis is really good at sprinting. So that would have been my prediction had it been a little drier, but it's awesome to see that he still was able to stick with him, even given the hugely technical components of this course.
Yeah, and I mean, both of them definitely struggling on this course. We saw a number of crashes, both out of Curtis and Steven. One would get the advantage and then crash, and the other one would get the advantage and then crash. And then definitely worth a shout out is Jeremy Powers. Fifth place, I mean, probably, in terms of Jeremy Powers' overall career, I don't necessarily know where that ranks and what his feelings are about that result. But in terms of this season, that's a big victory for him with the season that he's had.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when he was on the podium at Ruts and Guts, he even Instagrammed about it and said, normally a podium wouldn't be a thing I would post a picture of because, I mean, he's been at the top of so many of them over the years. But this year, because he's had such a rough season of up and down, and let's be honest, mostly down, to, be on the podium at Ruts and Guts and then to be fifth at Nationals in a really good battle for fourth. It was just an awesome race. I mean, I know my prediction had been that he would actually come back and take the win. He's, a little bit off of that, but
you weren't expecting the mud.
No, and given what we'd seen from him this season and what he's been dealing with, I think he did amazing, and I was so stoked for him.
Yeah, and I think great attitude by him as well. Obviously he's no longer the top guy, but just to stay in it, to be positive, to bring, his best game to the race every time he lines up. It's really cool to see him continuing to kind of add stoke to the U.S. cross scene. And then our national champion, Stephen Hyde, really one of the best stories of this domestic cross season, even though we barely got to see him race at all this domestic cross season, just injury after injury to come back. I mean, the mental fortitude that takes, and then to show up. Yeah, I found it just truly inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to come back from a broken sternum is, probably one of the toughest of the injuries to get through. But man, he was back on the trainer as soon as he could. He was in the gym. We've said it on the other shows. He's training at home in the cold. Everyone else is going to altitude, going to warmer weather, doing everything they can to be in comfortable training positions. Not hide. He's, out in freezing cold going uphill. And, we really saw it pay off in Louisville, because when the conditions suck like they did in Louisville or like they will in Belgium, it helps when you've trained in those conditions.
Yeah, definitely a deserving national champion, and headed to Europe next week. Watch him during Christmas week on FloBikes. It'll be exciting to see what he can do with wearing that national champion jersey, and maybe squeak out a top 10 in Europe. Let's get into our women's race. And, we came into this race with the three top contenders, Katie Keough, Katie Compton, and Ellen Noble, obviously. Let's talk about Katie Keough, because she has been very open on social media about her, and in media as general, with her struggles with mental illness. She hasn't produced the results that we would expect from her after her win at a World Cup in Iowa City. And, she really struggles with depression and anxiety. I mean, for me, that, for her to be able to be open about that in, our culture and society today, to view that as just a challenge and not something that we're going to stigmatize, but something that she can be open about dealing with and struggling with. And one of the reasons she hasn't been able to perform to her own expectations this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also worth mentioning, even when she was winning the World Cup in Iowa, even when she was, she won back-to-back at NBX, she was still dealing with all of that. It's, she's had, objectively, a really fantastic season. She's had some amazing breakout rides, and she's still dealing with this. So it's not just something that, comes and goes with how her results go. And that's the thing with anxiety and depression, even in elite athletes, even when they're winning, there's still this anxiety and depression. It doesn't go away just because they won a race. So I think it's really great that she's talking about that and, highlighting it even when she is having good results. And I mean, 5th place at nationals is also not that bad.
That's true.
We talk about being bummed about these things, and it's like, wait a second, I can't even finish on the lead lap at nationals. So
yeah, I mean, especially on a course like that, and yeah, I mean, I think, reading about some of her struggles and just the profound effect it takes on her, not being able to get off the couch, just feeling very paralyzed on it, I think to look at it through that spectrum, to be able to overcome that and produce a result like 5th at nationals is, a victory in and of itself. So definitely hoping her the best with the continuation of her season. And hopefully she'll continue to produce results as the season plays out. Let's get into the story of the nationals. I guess for me, Sunny Gilbert with a breakout ride in 2nd place. Now, you and I are old fans of Sunny Gilbert. We were on the Sunny Gilbert bandwagon way before she got 2nd place at nationals. What was it like for you watching her just really excel on this muddy, yucky, course in Louisville?
I mean, for me, it was just awesome seeing her up there with Becca and Ellen. You could see whenever they'd zoom in on them, you could see Becca's pain face, you could see Ellen's pain face. And I'm not saying Sunny was like, super smiley and sunny, but she looked so comfortable and so confident in a way that I'm going to say I didn't see anyone else other than Katie Compton looking on the course. And man, when she passed Ellen on one of those runs, you could see she was just going to keep going. Ellen caught back up to her a couple times and even got around her a couple times, but Sunny clearly was just having the ride of her life.
Yeah, her pain face definitely seems to be just like this wry smile, like she's just having a blast out there, but you definitely know she is in a lot of agony on that course. And I feel like you had a good point, she was getting a lot of credit for outrunning Ellen on this course, for it being more of a run-heavy course. She is a two-time All-American in the 800 meter, so definitely a very accomplished runner, but her skills and the way she was sending some of the muddy, gnarly sections on this course was truly impressive. So I do think that she deserves credit for her bike handling and not just, it being a course that favored her and her running ability.
Definitely. Also, side note, if you guys caught Ellen Noble's Instagram about the race, she actually mentioned that when Sunny passed her, Sunny actually said, "Come on, Ellen," to her in the past, which is just my favorite thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and name one of my children Pleasurable or something like that, so they would live up to the expectation.
I think you can go one of two ways with a name like Sunny, right? You're either the biggest pessimist or you're just happy.
All right, let's get into the 15-time consecutive national champion, Katie Compton. I mean, this is one of those records that's so unfathomable. It's like really hard to wrap your head around. I mean, we were trying to reminisce where we were when Katie Compton won her first national title. I think I was graduating from my senior year in college. I don't even know if you were racing cyclocross bikes back then.
I was a freshman in high school.
Well, I just dated myself. But yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those records that's just hard to put anything on. I mean, especially with the struggles that Katie has had over her career, mysterious leg pains, breathing issues, allergies, to show up year after year on this one day and win the national title. What is it for you with Katie Compton and this incredible streak?
Okay, first of all, I feel like I say this every time we do a show, but I cried. I cried when she crossed the line and took the win. To me, it is her mental fortitude. We talked about this before nationals. Literally bled out of her eyeball at Coxside to stay in that top 10. We know that unlike a lot of racers, she can just dig so deep. And, for her, nationals means something really big for her. And, when the season hasn't been going maybe exactly how she wanted it to, she knows, okay, nationals is my race. And, she really wanted to put her stamp on it. And, she did. And I'll admit, at the start of the race, when Ellen got the whole shot, I literally almost turned the TV off because I turned to my husband and said, yeah, Ellen's going to win this. It's over. Katie's back in 11th. She's never going to make it up. I went and got a cup of coffee, came back, sat down, and all of a sudden there's Katie just making a pass. And there it was.
Yeah. I mean, and do you think this is a bit of reality check for Ellen? I feel like a lot of the storylines coming into the race were, Ellen Noble's rise, Katie Compton struggles. This is the year that Katie Compton is going to lose her national title. I mean, for Ellen, what does this mean to, that it's not her year?
I think it's a really hard thing to overcome. I mean, Ellen also had that rough time at Pan Am's. She managed to, accidentally take herself out on a stake in a pretty emphatic way in the last lap and, kind of lost that championship. So I think she does actually struggle with, in the same way Katie can really turn it on for that national championship or for that Pan Am title, I think Ellen struggles to turn it on for that national championship or for that Pan Am title because it's so big. I think, she's still very young, right? She just turned 23, so she's still got years and years. Katie didn't win her first national title till 25. So if Ellen doesn't win it for another 2 years, she's on the Katie Compton trajectory. I have no doubt that she's going to win probably 15 national championships in her time. But yeah, I think this was a really good reality check for Ellen in a lot of ways. I think sometimes it's, when you're winning all the domestic races and then you know, you come into nationals as the number one contender, we'll say. You know, I think it's not a bad thing to have a bad day on some of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think it's great. You know, taking nothing away from Ellen and the season that she's had. Like this national title, you got to earn it. Katie is not gonna hand you the jersey, and she made that clear. And I don't think we can expect anything less next year. And you know, if anything, it's gonna cause racers like Ellen, like Katie Keough, like some of the other racers who are coming up through the ranks to work just that much harder, and you can see it raising the entire North American women's scene, and yeah, hopefully giving us a stronger presence internationally. So it's going to be a long, cold summer, I guess, until our U.S. Nationals next year. But we do have the World Champions to look forward to, and plenty of bike racing in Belgium on FloBikes.com or the Flow Sports app. And yeah, we will see you again soon for another Cyclocross show. Thanks, Molly.
Yeah, thanks for having me.